Hey everybody, time once again for What You Readin', where a lot of people ask me, a seasoned comic book professional of worldwide fame, often ask me, what are you reading? What current comics are you reading? Well, generally, I never read any current comics, but I do read comics and other stuff. I'm a voracious reader, a compulsive reader, always have been. And here I share my opinions, even possibly wisdom, about the comic book medium. First up is these new omnibuses. I hope this is a long series of omnibuses from Marvel. And what they do is they take a particular month and year, and they present all of the comics published by Marvel in that month. And when I first heard this idea, I was like, oh, come on, what a cash grab, what a cheap gimmick. And of course, I had to buy them. It's kind of brilliant. No, it actually isn't even kind of brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm sure the reprint editors were sitting around Marvel saying, how can we repackage more of this stuff? How can we sell them the same comics they bought before one more time? And also, we got all these comics that nobody wants to read. We're never going to collect. What do we do here? Well, let's go month by month. And so, but if you're a comic aficionado, this is kind of a gift because you get to see the evolution of Marvel as it was happening, as it turned from a comic book company that was mostly doing, big monster comics or comics for girls into a superhero powerhouse that it is today or was for a while. I guess I should say the powerhouse entertainment franchise that it would one day become. And so we got, June 1961. So what do we got here? We got the first appearance of Thor. I bought this one off the newsstand. I remember the newsstand at 45th and Walnut in Philadelphia. Picked this baby up and read about Thor, the mighty Thor. It's the second appearance of Ant-Man. Didn't find this one. Marvel had lousy distribution back then. The reason being that they were being distributed actually by national periodicals, which owned DC Comics. And of course, that distributor was far more interested in DC Comics getting on the newsstand than Marvel. And so Marvels were tough. They were tough to find. This month also features the third appearance of the Hulk. I remember buying this one at our corner drugstore in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. Same for this one. Fantastic Four #6 and Marvel's first supervillain team-up as Doctor Doom and Submariner. Dr. Doom in his second appearance, Submariner in his second appearance in Silver Age Marvel. Take on the FF in a story I absolutely adored. Just a fantastic issue. My first issue at FF was the previous month's issue, which introduced Dr. Doom. And I bought this one at the drugstore too. And of course, you had the usual monthly output of Tales of Suspense, Tales to Astonish, Strange Tales, and what was the other one? Can't remember. And with the usual Kirby and Ditko and Heck stories. But what's cool is by reprinting the entire issues that Ant-Man and Thor appeared in, we get some of those backup stories that have never been reprinted before. Because Ant-Man and Thor, for a long time, were only the lead features in those books, and they still kept on with the Kirby and Ditko and Heck backup stories. At this point in time, Kirby, Heck, and Ditko are practically the only people working still at Marvel because they're, trying to turn things around because of the horrible distribution they're getting. Now, the greatest thing about these collections, these month-by-month collections, is we get to see all the other genres that Marvel was publishing, some of which have never been reprinted before. There's a couple of Western books, Rawhide Kid and I believe Gunsmoke Western. I put the book away, so I can't look at it. You get Millie the Model, who must have sold big because Millie had 2 books a month, 2 monthlies, as did Patsy. And there was another character called Kathy. And these all featured, either young adult or teenage women. And at this time, 1961, 1962, and on, girls bought more comics than boys. I know that might come as a shocker to some of you, but with Archie and every publisher had a line of comics aimed at girls, and they all sold very well. And romance comics and any kind of mystery comic, so they were the primary audience. And so much of Marvel's output at this time was not aimed at the guys. But that's what makes these monthly collections. There's a 1963 collection coming, June 1963. I remember buying comics in that month like it was yesterday. And all of this made an impression on me. So if you're like a comic book historian or any interest in how Marvel evolved, you should check these out. They're worth a look. They're more than just a cash grab gimmick, even though that's probably all they were meant to be. And what's astonishing is that every story in the omnibus is credited to Stan Lee. Even when he plotted stories that were scripted by his brother Larry, Stan was working his butt off. Now, say what you want about Stan and how much of it was Kirby and Ditko driving the train. Yeah, Kirby and Ditko, huge contribution, but Stan was still in there, man, making sure the trains ran on time and keeping particularly this line of girl comics and the Westerns going all by himself. So hats off to Stan. Hard-working Stan. Another book I've been reading, I've read a few in this series. Cinebooks is publishing Buck Danny. Buck Danny is a long-running French comic book series about a United States Air Force pilot, and it's kind of cool because these are done by French creators. One of the creators of Lieutenant Blueberry was an early scripter on these things, and the series has been around for decades. And it features Buck and his two pals, and they never age. They're flying in the Korean War, and then they're flying in recent years, and they're still the same age. But who cares? Doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. The series is obviously very much inspired by aviation strips in the United States, like Steve Canyon and Johnny Hazard, but it mostly owes its feel and its look to George Wonder's run on Terry and the Pirates. These stories read very, very much like the Terry strips I used to read in the newspaper. And what they are is they're aviation adventures, unapologetic aviation adventures. This one is about a pilot who gets shot down over North Korea, an American pilot, and needs to be rescued. And all of the moving parts and pieces and secret machinations behind his rescue. It's a cool story, very exciting and quite educational. They use flight terms and aviation terms and present aviation models and things like that, and they explain all of them. So you can learn a lot about modern aviation by reading these books. And of course, everything is painstakingly researched, painstakingly accurate. These are for real, aviation adventure geeks. But there's a lot of fun. The characters have the usual rough military humor relationship between them. There's, petty rivalries and everything else. Serve as a background for what is an exciting action adventure rescue story with lots of shootouts and dogfights and clandestine nighttime missions and all the rest of it. But it's Buck Danny. Cinebooks has reprinted a number of these, and they're uniformly excellent. They're uniformly good. I really enjoy them, and they're worth checking out. The only pity is why don't we have comics like this in the United States? Why is it up to the French to do a rah-rah USA kind of military adventure book? Why aren't these things here? Well, I think we know the answer to that. So, while I still got you, Siege of the Black Citadel, people are liking it. It's selling briskly. It's getting good reviews from folks that matter. And I have written a second. It is in the editing phase, and we'll have illustrations and should be announced soon. I've also written a third one, which we're also working on doing illustrations for. And check it out. You either go to Arkhaven Comics or directly to Amazon and order your copy today. And I'm gonna talk to them about an audiobook version of this. Oh, how about that for you? And if you go to Arkhaven, you get a free ebook along with the paperback. I'll have the links down here below in comments. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reading along. And I'll see you all down the road.